Aleksej Pokusevski, Chase, take us home.
All right, let's round it out with Pokumania. It proved to be more than a worthy experiment, I think, is my overall take.
Yeah.
Like many teams could have done it. The Hornets were the one that like took that chance, and I think this is the perfect type of guy to take a chance on at the end of the year. The thing that I thought, I mean, I guess at this point it's kind of impressive, but I thought when it first happened, I was just like, of course it's happening this way. They wanted him to play in the G League originally because people forget he broke his leg with Oklahoma City. Like it wasn't like I sprained my ankle. Like he fractured his leg and missed like 6 weeks or whatever it was. They wanted him to kind of like ease back into it a little bit, but as we all know, with how the Hornets have been injury wise the last couple of years, there's no such thing as that. Someone got hurt like right away and he needed to play like instantly, and he's basically just been playing ever since. And while I think he is kind of the same player that he was with OKC, like inefficient, poor shooter, like takes a lot of ill-advised shots, passes, just does a lot of ill-advised things, I guess, in general, really on both ends of the court. But the intrigue is still there. Like the play in the last game against the Clippers, he had that behind the back into a crossover, into a reverse layup, like going all the way through the paint. Like guys at his size just don't do that fluidly very often. So it's hard to like let go of that, like when you really think about it. But I think the totality of him has yet to prove that he is an NBA player really in any regard. But again, like that's the type of player the Hornets should be taking a chance on, is just see if you can be the team that makes those flashes happen a little bit more often, or often enough to where he can make an impact, or maybe add some like ancillary skills. But I mean, whether or not that happens going forward, I have no idea, like whether or not he's going to be on the team next year. But at the end of the year, like now's the time to just kind of test the waters and see what Poku can add to his game.
He's actually been less wild than I thought he might be. My voice is really giving up, by the way. You can hear it.
We're an hour in. So I don't blame you at all.
It's like I've been smoking throughout this podcast and I've just finished my packet. It's been less wild than I thought. He needs to be able to shoot. Like for him to work as the idea of the play is, he's like a good switch beater because he can like dribble and take guys to the hole and finish around the rim. I thought he would play more center on this team. I thought that was the idea of like, oh, here's like you said, some different functional type of player different to the a la Mark Williams, Nick Richards. But no, they played him mostly power forward. I guess it's the defensive rebounding will put Steve Clifford off, and the size at center, and having Grant Williams there being another option. But look, I've enjoyed it. I think there's more there. I just think he's, like we said, he's still been getting up to speed. I think I've seen enough that I'd be curious to bring him back into camp next year, depending how things go this summer. I'd like to see him. He's ahead of JT Thor. We talked about JT Thor a lot for 2 years. He's way ahead of JT Thor. So that says everything that we need to say about JT Thor, I think, right now.
Yeah, I mean, we just did this 11 and 60. Did not talk about JT Thor until the very end, and talking about the absence of him from the lineup or anybody's thoughts really at this point, which, I mean, tough go of it. But I completely agree with Poku being ahead of him in the rotation so far.
So do I.